Welcome to another episode of Manders Mindset. I'm your host, Amanda Russo, and today I'm here for a solo episode where I'm going to discuss my healing journey, how I discovered breathwork, what breathwork exactly is, and basically how I got to where I am today. I also posted a poll on my Instagram story asking you guys what questions you had about my healing journey or what questions you had about breathwork. And I'm going to answer all of them in today's episode. I wrote them down, so I have them set aside. I did not go through and answer them previously. So it's kind of going to be an interview for me. I got a lot more questions from you guys than I expected to get, about 20 of them. But yeah, I'm going to go through them and answer all these questions for y'all. So, first question was, when did you first try breathwork? I first tried breathwork in July of 2022 when I went to New Hampshire for ayahuasca. I was there for a full weekend, and one of the days we did a breathwork session. And it was very powerful, but it was also very uncomfortable. I experienced a lot of emotions, a lot of heavy emotions. I was crying a lot, and it was an intense experience. It wasn't bad, but it was intense. That being said, I just kind of dropped it. I just didn't do it again until about 6 months later. January of 2023, a friend of mine had started facilitating breathwork detox sessions and had been trying to get me to go to try one. Never went, kept putting it off. I eventually finally went in January and I fell in love. I noticed an instant shift just after that one session, and it was amazing to me. I was shocked, to be honest, that something so simple, just breathing, could help me as much as it did with just one experience. So that was how I got into it. Um, what has breathwork helped you with the most? I would say breathwork has helped me with my confidence the most. I have stepped out of my shell a lot more than regularly doing breath work. It's also helped me just be more comfortable being Amanda and being confident in who I am at the core. Next question. Why did you start a podcast? How does it tie into your healing journey, if at all? Okay. There's a couple reasons I started a podcast. Prior to starting a podcast back about a year ago, I would on and off post different videos of me discussing different things that would just happen in my life. I would post them on my Instagram story, my Snapchat story, and one of my closer friends, Megan, had mentioned to me that I remind her of a motivational speaker. I didn't think anything of it really. Then this past June, I went to Utah to become certified in breathwork detox, and I asked a lot of questions during that week of training. I was very talkative, and the founder of Breathwork Detox had said to me that I should start a podcast. And I was like, okay, I will. And I slowly started just getting stuff together after he had said that to me. I really admire Curtis Lee Thomas. So when he suggested I do something that I knew would help me evolve, but also help me step out of my comfort zone, I was all for it. So, and here we are. episode 11. Let's see. How does fitness tie into your healing journey? So I discussed this a little bit in episode 8, where I discuss how Rachel Hollis helped change my life. But fitness really ties into my healing journey because it was one of the first steps in my healing journey. Now, I I slowly got into more movement once I discovered Rachel Hollis, and you can listen to episode 8 to hear more about that. But then after I slowly got into that, I eventually joined the gym. I started doing group fitness classes and I fell in love with it. Not even just the actual workouts, but the environment. I loved I loved the motivation. I loved being around these other positive people who were enjoying being at the gym. It was something I genuinely looked forward to. And now I joined the gym and started these group fitness classes when I was in a pretty negative, toxic relationship. So it helped me a lot, even get out of the apartment and not be around him as much. And it gave me the ability to start to heal, to change my life. Um, it it just also helped me realize what I'm actually capable of because we people as a whole tend to sell themselves short and don't realize how powerful they truly are and how capable they are of doing so much. And fitness also helps you realize that and seeing your body do things that you didn't know it could do. And it helped it helped me so much and I loved it. I fell in love and the rest is history. Um, Next question. Did your healing journey start when you and your ex broke up? Yes, it did. Not gonna name names, but back the end of 2019, I was in a pretty toxic relationship. We broke up in November of 2019, and my healing journey slowly stemmed from that. Um, it was right around then that I joined the gym. It was right around then that I slowly started to step into more healing modalities. What have you done to heal? I know breathwork, but what else? So I've done a lot of different stuff to work at healing my trauma and healing things I've experienced in life. I've I've tried a lot of stuff. Everything from yoga, different types of yoga, to meditating, guided meditating, Reiki, cacao ceremonies, sound healing, um, different fitness, Pilates, different fitness classes. Um, Even as far as plant medicines, I've done ayahuasca, I've done psilocybin, I've done a lot of different healing workshops. I've experienced Reiki. I've I've experienced a lot of different healing modalities. Um, but I will say I experienced the most profound effects from breathwork. It was also the most instant, which I loved. I loved that I saw a change in myself immediately. This is you were so different in college. How did you make this switch? So, little backstory for those of you who don't know me that well or haven't known me for that long, but I was a very different woman while I was in college. I was your typical party girl, I drank a lot. I pretty much ate whatever, never went to the gym. I didn't really believe in mindfulness. I didn't practice mindfulness. I I was a completely different person. But I started to not even recognize who I was. I started to also not like who I was. And I just got sick of it. And I knew this isn't this isn't it. This isn't for me. I'm I'm just not happy. I'm not happy at the core. And I knew something needed to change. I was just I was I felt stuck. I felt like I was at a dead end. I knew something's got to give. There needs to be a change. It's time. So that slowly from there is when things with my ex eventually deteriorated. We broke up. I got into the gym, got into movement, slowly started introducing healing modalities and healing myself and becoming the woman who I want to be and a woman that I'm proud of. So, yeah. Are there specific breathing techniques that can help with relaxation and stress reduction? Yes, there are. So I would say breathwork detox, for one, is great for that. Um, it's specifically designed to give you the most profound experience in the shortest amount of time, which is one of the things I loved the most about it because you will notice benefits instantly after one session, which is not something that you will notice in a lot of different healing modalities. Ayahuasca, you have to do it a lot of different times to fully get all of the benefits. Magic mushrooms, it's sometimes you could have a life altering experience with one time, but not always. Um, Breathwork detox is also intended to induce massive clearings, cathartic releases, and breakthroughs to energetically detox you of any and everything that is no longer serving your highest and greatest good. Um, Breathwork detox will help you experience better quality lifestyle, more confidence, and it'll just help you show up in the world with more peace, more presence, more power. You'll be more of a badass, straight up. Um, A Breath of Fire is also really great for this as well. Another benefit of Breath of Fire is you can do it in a shorter period of time. You can also do it in more places. Breathwork detox is done lying down. There's music playing. Um, Next question. Are there any specific breathing techniques that can improve sleep quality? I would say a body scan meditation. I tend to do one almost every night, a body scan meditation. They have guided ones you can do, or you can just do it yourself. And a body scan meditation is basically scanning each part of your body, starting from your crown chakra, your head, going all the way down, and just noticing how that feels emotionally, physically, energetically. And it helps you it also helps me personally, my brain stop thinking a little bit because I am more present and I am focusing on how this specific body part feels in this moment. So that's helped me a lot with falling asleep and staying asleep, honestly. Next question. How long does it take to experience benefits from breathwork practice? So, breathwork detox, there are instant benefits. Now, everyone has a different experience with breathwork. It's different for everybody. And every single time you do breathwork, you will get a different experience as well. But I have noticed a benefit with every single session. The benefit's always different, though. Sometimes I just have more joy. Sometimes I feel less stress. Sometimes it's a bigger thing, like I feel healing from a big wound that's really been bothering me. Um, there, there's a lot of different things. Um, Sometimes I just feel more confident and like I can take on the world. I am ready. I got this. Um, but it's instant. We live in a society where everybody wants that instant, everything's instant with like nobody wants to wait for anything, that instant gratification. And the fact that breath work, you will see some type of benefits instantly is what made me fall in love with this practice. Are there different types of breathwork techniques, and how do I know which is the right one for me? So yes, there are different breathwork techniques. Um, Breathwork is basically the umbrella term for different types of breathwork. There's rebirthing breathwork, transformational breathwork, Wim Hof breathwork, clarity breathwork, shamanic breathwork detox. So there's a wide variety of them. Um, some are more well known than others, some are more practiced than others. And although each method has its own characteristics and different elements, they are all pretty similar and share various healing aspects. I would personally just try different ones and see what helps you the best. That's what I've noticed personally for any aspect of life, to determine what is the best modality for you individually. You have to try the options. It's just like moving your body. Some people are powerlifters, some people are bodybuilders, some people are yogis, some people love running. And it's movement is universal and movement is so beneficial. It's just a matter of what type of movement is best for you, just like what type of breath work is best for you. Everybody's different, but it's just a matter of discovering and uncovering what helps you individually the most. What is the difference between breath work and mindfulness meditation? So, a breath work is like meditation on steroids. Breath work is great for people who don't like to meditate or have a hard time meditating. Now, they're both great tools that serve a purpose, but there's different purposes. Now, meditation is often more difficult than breath work because meditation is usually done sitting in an upright position where you clear your thoughts, you focus on the present moment, whereas breath work is done lying down on your back on a yoga mat. There's loud music playing. So it's a very different type of setting that you are in. Um, the music for during breathwork is played for motivational purposes and to help release any trapped emotions by tapping into the energy and the emotions of the particular song that is playing. There's also been a lot of people with ADD or ADHD tend to notice that breathwork is very helpful and easier for them because they don't have to try to quiet the mind. Whereas in meditation, you are trying to quiet the mind, be still, not have thoughts. Whereas breathwork's almost the opposite of that. Um, Breathwork does not, it's not trying to prevent distractions. Um, meditation is more difficult for the scattered mind. Whereas breathwork, it's easier for people even with a scattered mind to be able to do breathwork. What are the benefits of incorporating breathwork into my daily routine? So there's a lot of benefits. Increased confidence, release stress and anxiety. It can help you gain clarity. It can bring feelings of joy and bliss. It can help you gain more patience. It can help you have new epiphanies, new insights, the ability to quiet your inner critic. It increases confidence a lot. You'll feel more bold and more powerful. It'll help clear blockages, release negative emotions, belief, negative habits. It also helps a lot of people even form new habits. Um, it helps you be more present. It helps heal different trauma, different wounds. It helps you release things that used to bother you and not be bothered by them anymore. Um, it's just a really euphoric experience, honestly. What triggered your healing journey, and how does breathwork facilitate healing? I would say my longest relationship, I'm not going to name names again, but I would say that triggered my healing journey because I truly lost myself during that relationship. To no one's fault but my own. But I changed who I was. I I didn't even recognize myself. I started dressing differently. I started hanging out with different people. I started not doing hobbies that I loved. I started I started changing who I was at the core. So when I slowly came out of that relationship, that triggered my healing journey. Um, and then even after the relationship, we lived together for about 9 months. So that was a big trigger for my healing journey as well, because I was trying to heal from a breakup while still living with and seeing my ex partner every day. So that was hard. Um, that was very difficult. And that was really what triggered my healing journey because I was just fed up. I knew this is not how I want to feel. This is not how I want to look. This is not this is not anything of what I want my life to be. This is not who Amanda is, and I'm done. I'm making a change. And it wasn't even just the aesthetics of not being happy with how I look. I would get out of breath going up the stairs, and I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel better in every aspect of life, and I knew I needed to make that change because no one can make a change for you. I say this all the time. People can suggest things to you, people can give you advice, people can give you all the tools, people can tell you exactly what you need to do. But the only person who can change your life is you. Nobody can do it for you. No one. And I knew that I needed to make that change. And that's what triggered it. I was fed up. I was sick and tired of living life how I was living life. Um, and breathwork facilitates healing. It facilitates healing in a lot of ways. It helped me with my healing in terms of looking at things in a different light. What I mean by that is the first time I tried breathwork detox specifically was actually the anniversary of my Mimi passing. And her and I were super, super close. We were like best friends. And I've always struggled with her birthday and the anniversary of her passing because of how close her and I were. And I always was just frustrated that she's not still here. She could have lived longer. I could have had her in my life longer, etc. However, when I did breathwork for the first time, it was the anniversary of her passing. I went into that session kind of frustrated and disappointed that she wasn't there and just in a gloomy blah mood. I left the session feeling gratitude and peace for the fact that I got 15 years with her. I got to be as close as I was with her. And not everyone's as close to their grandparents like I was. Not everybody lives with their grandparents. So I was able to look at this situation from a different lens and a different perspective simply by doing a breathwork session. And honestly, that blew my mind. That blew my mind. So I knew, wow, this is something I need and want to experience again and experience more of. And then I went back exactly a week later and I continued to fall in love with it. Um, During the first time I tried it was January of 2023. And I was actually going through a pretty weird transition in my life. I had recently quit my job without a plan of what was next. Um, I gave a decent amount of notice, but I was at a weird stage. I didn't know what I was going to do for work. I was disappointed and upset, experiencing grief with the anniversary of my Mimi. And I was just in a really weird state. But I left that breathwork session feeling like a whole new woman. I felt gratitude. I felt peace. I had no stress whatsoever. And I was just, I, I felt like I was flying high. Like it was an indescribable feeling. You know, they say describing breathwork is like describing a kaleidoscope to a blind person. It's almost impossible. You have to experience breathwork for yourself. And honestly, I could not recommend any healing modality more than breathwork because it truly transformed my life. And it also transformed my life instantly. It wasn't something I had to do a bunch of times to notice benefits. I've noticed more benefits by doing it consistently, but even after one session, I had benefits and I loved that. The instant gratification for me was amazing. Let's see. This is an intense question. Um, so I guess this is a good place to end. What has been the hardest thing you've overcome? Hmm. Hmm. I would say the hardest thing that I had to overcome was my whole experience with my ex and the way that ended and how that transpired. Because we broke up in November, and then we lived together until the following August, and it was very difficult. It was very difficult. We were both toxic to each other, and it wasn't a good environment. It wasn't somewhere I wanted to be. I I was drinking all the time. I I was going out. I was hanging out with people I would normally never hang out with. I just didn't even want to be there. It it was very difficult for me. And I even ended up getting in a car accident while we were living together. And then I totaled my car. I was out of a vehicle for a couple of months. My ex drove me around. It it shifted my whole world, to, to be honest. There were days I didn't know how I was going to make it through. I, I I kept pushing and kept going through the motions, but I kept wondering when is something going to change? When is something going to get better? And honestly, that whole experience led me to slowly start delving into the healing modalities. It was that whole experience that led me to the gym, then which led me to do yoga more, which led me to all of these other things that I slowly started to do. Um, but it it was the hardest thing I overcame. But I will say this: every single person has overcame something that they at one point thought they wouldn't overcome. So the next time you are going through a really hard experience, take a step back and remind yourself, what was the last or the other most difficult thing you experienced? Think about it. You survived that too. So you will survive whatever this hard thing is as well. It's just another bump in the road. And you either go around it or you go over it, but you keep going. I lied, guys. There's one more question I did not see. Wait, excuse me. Two more questions I did not see. Was there a major life change that initiated your healing journey? I basically, it all primarily ties back to my breakup. Uh, that was the biggest life event that opened my eyes to just, I changed who I was for somebody else. I'm, I now don't recognize Amanda. So that life event made me realize I wanted to and I needed to change. And if I didn't do it, it was nothing was going to happen. I was going to keep going through the motions. Last question. What's something no one knows about your healing journey? Hmm. Um, Something no one knows about my healing journey. Hmm. That is a very tough question. Um, Or maybe this isn't something that no one knows, but not a lot of people know. Something that not a lot of people know about my healing journey, I would say, is that I've tried almost all of the healing modalities, as I've mentioned earlier, from Reiki to sound healing to yoga to meditating to hiking to breathwork to mushrooms to ayahuasca to you name it, I've done it. So, yeah, not everybody realizes that I've tried almost all the modalities. Um, Another thing I would say that not everyone realizes about my healing journey is that at the start of it, I didn't even realize I was beginning my healing journey. You know, I just knew I was now in this depressed state. I was miserable. I was unhappy. I was going through the motions. I I was in a long-term relationship with a man I didn't feel loved by. I felt like I was losing myself and but in the midst of this, I just knew something needed to change. But I didn't realize that years later I would refer to this as the start of my healing journey or the beginning of my spiritual awakening. If you would have told me 4 years ago that that would be that that's the start of my spiritual awakening, I wouldn't have realized or believed you. So you might be on your healing journey, you might be starting it, you might have started it a while ago, and you might not even realize it. But so that's all the questions y'all had for me. There were a lot. Um, but I want to just end with a little more about breathwork detox. But a breathwork detox truly just changed my life, honestly. And I've spent the last about 4 years just trying to find more peace, to be more present in my life, and to just have more ease, to have more balance, and to go with the flow more and heal my nervous system as a whole. And breathwork detox has done that and been the most effective at that out of every healing modality that I have tried. So honestly, I could not recommend breathwork detox enough. That being said, if you guys have any questions about breathwork detox, would like to discuss this further, or you have any other questions about my healing journey, how I ended up where I'm at now, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at the Breathing Goddess, or you can shoot me an email at thebreathinggoddess@gmail.com. Also, I am hosting different breathwork detox events in person next month. You can check out my Instagram for that or shoot me an email about that as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Manders Mindset. And, you know, time is the only thing we will never get back. You can get your money back, you can earn more. Any and everything in life can be replaced except for your time. That being said, thank you guys for taking the time and spending some time listening to me today, because you could be listening to any podcast or doing anything else. So I truly appreciate your time. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the show, if you would like it, leave it a rating and subscribe to stay tuned to all the upcoming episodes. And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with somebody you love. Thanks, guys.